All right, from the National Weather Service in Raleigh, it's Nick Petro with your Thursday morning update. This 9:30 webinar is being held in place of what would normally be our 11:30 routine webinars on Thursday. So to address the accumulated snow expected later today and tonight. Again, there will not be an 11:30 routine briefing like we normally have on Thursdays. Instead, this 9:30 a.m. briefing takes its place, and we've gotten a lot of requests from folks to do one a little bit earlier, so folks can have a little more time for their decision making, and we're happy to accommodate that request. All right, so I'm switching screens here to the live radar. And just for folks who may be new to these webinars, if you have any questions, you can type those questions into the question box that you see on your screen. You should have a question box if you're using the GoToMeeting app on your cell phone or tablet. You should have a question box there, or on your screen if you're using a laptop or a desktop computer. All right, so here's what we got going on right now. We do have this is live radar, as I mentioned, and we do have some rain being reported here, reaching the ground. I will point out here. Let me stop this on the latest frame, and here we go at Goldsboro. Seymour Johnson Air Force Base is reporting light snow pellets here, and you'll wonder, well, it's 46 or 44.66 degrees. Almost 45 degrees. What's happening here? And in fact, you might recall yesterday when I did the webinar at 3:30, we had sleet that was hitting the ground, and it was 49 degrees. So don't be surprised the fact that maybe if you're out and your car thermometer shows still temperatures in the 40s, that why is there snow grains or sleet or some kind of wintry mix occurring? When in fact temperatures are high. It's really more important of what's the temperature above the ground. And if you look up at the sky and you see that cloud layer, the cloud base, there's a lot of dry air beneath those clouds, and that dry air is helping as the precip is falling into it, helping with the evaporation cooling, and it's much cooler as you go just above the ground. So that's helping to support these mix of, and Goldsboro is not the only place we've gotten reports of sleet mixing in. We've gotten reports basically all along this the northern edge of this line here. We're getting reports not everywhere in that line, but basically along there we're getting plenty of reports of some sleet mixing in. Now further south near the South Carolina border, this seems to be kind of all rain. There might be a few sleet pellets mixing in there, but as I turn to temperatures, let me show the temperatures right now. You can see we've got low to mid 40s across a wide portion of the area. As you go further north, look at those temperatures in the upper 30s, and probably more interesting are the dew points. And look at how the dew points are transitioning. You'll notice some values here in the lower 20s in the triad, and even mid 20s up near the Virginia border. And then when I put on wind here, you can see the wind is from the northeast. So the point here, and I don't mean to get too sciencey here, but wind's coming from the northeast and drawing in some of that, at least at the surface anyway, some of those lower dew point values, which will help see these 20 dew point values in the 20s. Dry air, as precipitation falls into it, helps to cool the atmosphere. So don't be misled by the fact that temperatures are in the low 40s right now. Oh, how can it snow? Well, there's plenty of cold air aloft, plenty of dry air, and these temperatures will fall very quickly once the heavier rain gets going and then changes to snow. So anyway, that's the progression of things. And let me loop this through one more time, and you could see, it's trying just to rain or precipitate in some fashion north of this, of where it's showing up on radar right now. It's evaporating before it hits the ground. So, and again, that's helping to cool the atmosphere, which will ultimately support a changeover to snow later today. All right, so that's what's going on right now. Again, let me show you. Right now, we're seeing the green dots you see on the screen represent where stations that are reporting rain. So it's rain pretty much everywhere from Albemarle to Fayetteville to Clinton over to points east, but there is some sleet and snow pellets mixing in at times. Goldsboro, I'm sure, is not the only place that's seeing it, although the airport is reporting it there. It's probably occurring, elsewhere, but it's mostly rain. So how will this transition as we head through the afternoon? And what I've just put on here, we've moved away from the live radar, and now what I'm showing is the radar simulation, or kind of like a forecast of what the radar will look like. And let me hit this button, which then assigns precipitation types. So one thing I'll point out right from the get-go, it seems like this model is running a little bit slow with the evolution of the northward push of that rain. So as I take it forward in time, this would be a 1 o'clock time frame in this particular model. And by 1 o'clock, it shows that rain is continuing to spread north with a transition to snow basically across the northwest triad region, where it has still all rain basically across the southern portion of North Carolina. So one thing is that probably is going to be a bit slow in the northward push, and maybe even a bit slow in the precip type changeover. Okay, so let me jump. Unfortunately, this model only gives us 3-hour increments. So that was 1 o'clock. This is now 4 p.m. And look how quickly from 1 to 4, this model, and this is a fresh model, this model was already run this morning, so it's one of the newest models that we have available to us. So notice how quickly this model fills in not only the precipitation, but then also changes it over. And you'll see that changeover line is basically from just north of Albemarle to right around Sanford to Clayton, up to Wilson, and then up towards Edgecombe County over toward southern Halifax County. And along that line I just drew on the screen, there could be some sleet mixing in too. So basically anywhere in the circle in the line, it's not going to be an instant changeover from rain to snow. It's probably going to be like a little bit of sleet transition too. And again, this time frame right here is 4 p.m. That's what we're looking at right here, 4 p.m. So by 4 p.m. this particular model has has the changeover occurring basically along the Highway 64 corridor, which I'm basically roughly drawing in right here. All right, so that's roughly 4 p.m., give or take an hour either way. These are models, so there's obviously going to be some error. We have to allow for some error. Now, jumping ahead 3 more hours to 7 p.m., and notice how it's a solid snow for the precipitation type from basically Albemarle to Raleigh to Rocky Mount, all the way down a little bit further towards Goldsboro. A changeover approaching Fayetteville. Again, this is 8 p.m. this evening, and really notice how the back edge is really approaching the triad pretty quickly. So for our folks, partners, friends in the triad in Winston-Salem, the fact that this back edge is quickly pushing eastward should keep you out of the real the heaviest snowfall, just because of your duration of snow is less. Now, this arrangement in the precipitation type would once again suggest probably the heaviest snow falling somewhere, basically in the area there that I just outlined here. And again, this is the 8 p.m. Time frame. All right, so let me jump ahead 3 more hours to 10 p.m. and you can see the changeover to snow now is through just about all of the National Weather Service Raleigh's coverage area. The only exception being the far southern portion of Sampson County. But it's pretty much snow just about across the entire coastal plain and I-95 corridor, again with probably some pretty decent snow rates in the area that I just circled right there. All right, so so the fact that the changeover is occurring later across the southern portion of our coverage area, we're talking, you know, Richmond, um, Scotland, Hoke, Cumberland, and Sampson counties. Since those areas are changing over last, then that's why we have the least amount of snowfall across those areas, because it's going to hold on to rain a little bit longer. All right. So that time frame right there is 10 p.m. and here is 1 a.m. tonight, and then finally 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. So notice too, it's going to take a little while to get the back edge of the precipitation. Let me back up here to 1 a.m. It's going to take a little while to get the back edge east of I-95. You know, from basically Smithfield eastward, I-95 eastward, it's still going to be snowing at 2 a.m. tonight. So, and our friends in Wayne County, yeah, you're going to see snow still accumulating, you know, into 3-4 o'clock in the morning. So, so anyway, that's the way things time wise appear to be progressing based on the freshest and latest models that I have. So, in the interest of time here, I don't want to keep folks too long here. I know we're all have to get back to our meetings and such to decide what we're doing here, but I just want to go through real quickly. I'm not going to go through these verbatim. Snow and hazardous travel, obviously, are our biggest concerns. We're not as much concerned with the wind and power outages. You know, there could be a few gusts up to 30, but clearly, you know, hazardous travel is going to be a challenge here, particularly along and north of the Highway 64 corridor, and particularly from the triangle eastward. Okay, this is our watch warning advisory graphic. We're kind of contemplating the need to perhaps extend the warning a bit. But there's one of my colleagues here said, maybe not. So I know there was some talk about that earlier, but I just got a thumbs down here about the need to expand that. So we're waiting for more data. Oh, I just got handed a note here from one of my colleagues. You know, our operations center is literally right behind me, over my shoulder. So I'm constantly getting fed new info as even as I'm doing these webinars here. And the notes I got here is we're waiting for some more guidance to decide on any expansion. There's a hint of slightly lighter amounts, interestingly, a little lighter in the triad particularly, and steadier snow is slower to get into the triangle region. Okay, so those are the notes that were just handed to me. Just going back to this is just another way to convey what I just already showed you. So basically, you know, the trend, ironically, it seems like these things tend to want to come in faster, but perhaps maybe this particular event may be a little bit on the we may have to adjust the times a little later than what we may have originally been predicting. And you can kind of see it in this graphic right here with the changeover times and the precipitation types. Okay. Now, keep in mind, the later it takes or the longer it takes to change over, the lower the snowfall totals will be. So anyway, this is the well, let me just jump right here to the expected snowfall forecast here, because this is our official forecast, and essentially at this point, my gut feel is that we're probably not going to deviate much from these values here, with basically the heaviest snow amounts occurring in the warned area, in the area there highlighted by that warning there. So we're talking from Henderson to Roanoke Rapids, Lewisburg, Rocky Mount down to Goldsboro, and that's conveyed in these amounts right here, where you see the 3 to 4 inch snowfall amounts. And this is essentially right here is basically where we have our winter storm warning, and that's where we are expecting the highest snowfall amounts to occur. And again, if things evolved a little bit quicker, and if we were able to change that precip over from rain to snow a little bit faster, then perhaps these amounts would be higher. But the note I was just handed suggests that transition may take a little bit longer, which would then temper snowfall amounts a little bit. Okay. All right. So Basically, the worst of the conditions will be this evening and tonight in terms of when the precip will be falling. And then temperatures are going to be pretty chilly tomorrow morning. We're going to see temperatures hold in the freezing. We're not going to see. Let me restate this. We're not going to see temperatures rising above freezing till probably about midday tomorrow, and then struggling to hit 40 where there's snow on the ground. Tomorrow night, Friday night, it's going to get pretty cold, especially where there's snow on the ground. So look for temperatures dipping into the lower to mid 20s, especially coldest where there's snow on the ground. Saturday and Sunday should be plenty of sunshine to offer a fairly quick melting opportunity. All right, so that pretty much wraps up our webinar. So we will, again, just a reminder, we're not going to do an 11:30 because this webinar took its place. We may set up one for later this afternoon just to give folks any last minute changes. So I would envision that probably if we do one, it'll probably be around 4 o'clock this afternoon. I haven't decided exactly yet. It just depends on our timeline of other briefings. But if we can fit one in there around 3:30, 4 or 4:30, we'll try to do another webinar just like this to give you the latest and finest tuned details. Okay. So that wraps up today's 9:30 update.